Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It's Thursday. It's November the 7th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And yep, round two. No sound again today. Um, I don't know what else to say. I think that maybe I have a problem with, I thought it was something I was doing wrong, but I double checked it today. It all appeared to be working, and I thought I was good to go. I didn't have time to hang around here for the video to upload. And of course, when I get a chance to get back and double check my email, it's full of emails saying no sound today. So I'm going to do this again. I'm doing it one more time. It's going to probably be a little bit quicker. And hopefully this one's good. If this one has no sound when I get done, I'm going to check it. Then I'm leaving the other one up. And we'll just have to get by today. I'm not, but I got to figure this out. And tomorrow I'll work on this before I do the video and make sure that whatever is going on, that I can get it fixed. But all I can say is this is a great downtrend. This is the kind of day we live for as traders. It doesn't get any better than this. There's no reason to try to buy it all. The only time you might have thought about buying is when we were going up through here to the other side. But even then, I'd stay away from it. I'd just wait. This is when I'd take my break. You really didn't even need to be trading this late if you could catch these other moves. So, okay, 2 minutes in and I'm already getting interrupted. I'm never going to get this thing done. I apologize. Probably only seems like a blink to you, though. It's all downhill. You know, don't be trying to buy on a day like this. Just wait for the setups. Most all of them have traps. I'll show you. If you just drew your short-term trend lines all day long, they gave you great setups when you're going the other way, and that way you know exactly when to sell again or when you should be looking to sell. There's a smaller channel right here. Notice you could have seen it either way, but there's a smaller channel here, a break, and then moves to the new low, and we're kind of bottoming out, it looks like. But there's no doubt there's a larger channel here with a median line, and it's definitely in play. Like I said, these are the kind of days you live for. Just hang on tight and go with it, and it just doesn't get much better than this. But let's back out. We'll talk about the trades, and we'll go from there. Let me back out where we can see it a little bit. I was way out there just so you could kind of get a good look at the channels and all. And this was the first trade I saw this morning, a little after 7 o'clock. And I hope this looks familiar because it is the very exact same thing that happened yesterday. There's yesterday. It's a little bigger. The moves are a little bigger, but it is the same exact deal. Notice we broke out of a range and we snapped back. Down here, we broke out of a range, and not only did we snap back, we just kept on going today, though. So this was the same pattern. One thing that's important about this pattern here, if this was a strong trend day, you might consider going long here, but there's just not a very good long setup. There's no way you could enter above that bar there. There's not room to get out at the top. It's too big. You can't get in with a 2-point stop. So if you we're able to get in right in here with a limit order, which I cannot remember if it broke higher and came back. So I don't know if you could get in with a limit order there, but if you could, then you might have considered going long. But if you were trying to draw a trend line, that's what I would have seen right there. And you already had a break. And so, and the fact that it's the same identical pattern we had yesterday, that's a good reason to stay out of it. And notice that this low went lower than any of those last 3 lows. So it's, you know, it's not a good sign. Of course, it is a 2-legged pullback, but your second entry short was right here. You had a first entry pullback and then a second entry short, and then your second entry long triggered right there. But it's just not a very good setup for the same reasons yesterday. We came out as it looks real bullish. And you never know, we could have gone up and made another measured move. But you got to find a way to get in much further down here, and there just wasn't any way. And, you know, I don't know if any of you were trading, but the thing is, you just, you know, you can't risk going long there without getting a better entry. So the key is just sit tight and wait on a better entry, and by waiting, you get to catch this trap, this failed second entry long. You don't know that it's going to do this all day. No way you know that. But guess what? If you got in right there or right here, your runner was good for over, let's just say, just assume you got in here at around 1770, and you could have ridden this all the way down to 1742, almost 30 points in a single day on, you know, just one contract. But imagine if you had multiple runners there. And any of these trades, I don't know about this one, but most of these trades would have caught a runner. These first few, those two, I believe this one, no, this one came back. But there were a couple over here, right in here somewhere that would have kept on going. You can see that. This one, I think they came back for that one and that one. And, you know, these were the last trades I marked. There were some more later on. I actually marked these last couple during the video as it was playing. So it's a shame that I didn't have any sound on that. But this first trade is a failed second entry long. There's different reasons you don't want to be looking at a long there. First of all, if you drew your line off those first two swings and these bottom ones, you can see that little channel right there. And this really is kind of a trading range right here. A lot of overlap, a lot of dojis in there. You know, I just don't see a reason to go long there. And by sitting on your hands, you get this failed second entry long that you can take to the downside. And but that was real early. A lot of you may not have been trading. And the next opportunity you got to enter was right here. It's a second entry short, but it's right off that trend line, coming off those highs right there. You can see that. And you're moving up. You get your first entry short, and that's your break of the trend line. And it goes back and makes a new high, and it turns around right at that line there. You can see that, and reverses and turns down. And if you were looking at this as the trend channel, you know, if you drew that off the high, you'd move that up there, and later you'd see that was kind of a measured channel, and you got your break and your new low, and then you got your correction, but that's in your bigger channel. But this is a second entry short. Nice setup. There's a little bit of overlap there, but it's a second entry short. It's coming off the trend line. It's a fairly bearish bar. You might have used a limit order there, waited for it to break below, and then dropped it in there. But you might have got left behind doing that, you know, because of that trend line and the fact that you had this one here too. And if the worst case scenario, it's probably a break of that trend line and then a move down. But I believe this to be the median line, and this is the actual channel, the shorter term channel. There was actually a failed second entry long right here that turned into a short, but you can see that there's strong support right here. It was a little risky. You got to kind of wait on this breakout pullback short right here. And, you know, you got a new high. You came down. You made a correction. There, really, prices should have gotten rejected here. And notice what this is. This is that top of that range from yesterday. So this breakout here is a breakout of a day-long range. So you know, the odds are it's going to snap back, and that's another reason why you had to be careful going long up here at these highs. If you got tripped up there, you just got to reverse when that turns back down. There's nothing else you can do. If you can't find it off the highs, find it off the, and then of course you get another two-legged pullback to the EMA. It looked like it was going to try to pull back and test the median line and maybe go on up, but guess what? It could never break higher. Then it tested it again and turned down. So that's like a double test of that EMA. That's really almost, it's really a form of a failed second entry. If it would have broken higher, it definitely would have been. But if you went to a smaller chart, you probably might see a move up there. Actually, I don't think you would, because there's nothing that ticked higher there. It's possible that one of these might have been lower and that went higher, but that's still good enough in a strong downtrend. And it's obvious this is a strong downtrend by this point, because we just keep going right through all these support areas all the way kind of down through here. I didn't mean to do that. So, but look, if you use these trend lines, look, you're drawing it off the closes, you get a break, a retest, boom. You're drawing it off these closes, you kind of get a little break here. It tries to go up and test it, turns back down, then tries to go up again. So that's like two tests of that area, and then boom, off it goes. And it's off to the races. And where do you think it's probably going? Back down to this low again. And then it starts trending up this way, and you draw it off those closes, and you finally get your break right here, and it pulls back, tests it, tries to go lower, then tries to test it again. It ticks higher. And when that thing ticked higher right there and turned down and raced straight out the bottom, you need to have a stop waiting right there. And off it goes. And, you know, by this time, you know the trend's strong. Now, you did get a little bit of break here, but you might have been thinking about having this line, you know, looking for a median line by that point, and you might have had it off those highs right there. You should have if you're getting pretty good at finding these lines. So, but that's why that turned down right there. It couldn't get back above this median line on the bigger channel. And it, you know, there's a nice long failed second entry long that turns into a trap. And you really can count this as a second entry long or a breakout pullback both, and it's really kind of a pullback to test that again after it went through and came back under and tested it, and off it goes again. And look at that bearish reversal bar. Put your stop right there, entering, boom. And where does it start getting? Starts finding support right on that median line and right off that trend line. This is, I wasn't sure if this was correct. You know, that's just the first touch of having it from off of those lows up here. So, you know, you don't have that one confirmed yet. You're just guessing, but it bounces there and you're thinking, hey, that looks pretty good. But then draw your trend line up through here. This one was a little tricky here. I really should have circled this in purple because it was a little tricky. But we did have this break of the shorter term trend channel, and we couldn't get back through, and we didn't really get strong rejection right here. But of course we didn't get strong rejection this time either. So, you know, when you're in a trend this strong, it's possible you got tripped up right here. And if you did, there's the only thing you can do is reverse. But look at all that overlap right in there. We just kind of overshot a possible here. We couldn't get back down to this line. It's way past time for a rally. Just a lot of reasons. And if you got this right, if you saw this possible line and you've measured that and you're guessing this is right, then you probably figure we're going to try to come back up to the upper side. And it looked like we were going to reverse and try to rally, but we couldn't. We got right back up to the resistance. But notice if you draw your lines here, I got them off the top here. Originally, and this is another reason you might have got tripped up here, because you might have been drawing this one like this, and you get the break and you try to test it. But when it came back to test it the second time, look what happened. It went on through. So, but still, that might have been good enough to try to go short right there. It's not a very good, it didn't close down here on its lower end or close to its low end. It closed right where it opened. So it's, you know, hopefully that's a clue to say, hey, I might better wait on this one, especially since you've moved so far, so fast, and so bearish. So otherwise, like I said, if you got tricked here, the only thing you could do is reverse when it went up right there, thinking that we're at least probably coming back to this median line. And you see that median line, it held. You see it held as resistance, and then it tried to go lower and it couldn't, and it closed back up here. That's a good sign that we're going to break on through there. And we went up, we pulled back and tested it, and then went on higher. And you might have thought about going long in here. And you probably wanted to go long here on a failed second entry, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even go long here. You just can't go long on a day like this because they fail too often. I bet you I can go back here and see where a bunch of failed second entries turned into a second entry long that just trapped people, and then it turned back down. So that's why I didn't mark it as a long as well. It's just an area that could trick you up and fool you. And if you got fooled there, all you can do is exit or reverse and try to make it back. But I wouldn't reverse right there. I would exit. It's just not worth it. You can, of course, after the fact, it's easy to see, but I wouldn't reverse there. So, and you just got to ride this out. It's a nice little. This correction started at about 10:21, and it ended right here, I would say, about 11:32. So just a little bit over an hour. just what you'd expect after the shorter term trend line, and then it starts heading to make a new low. And so you could have read this thing like that. You didn't have to see the bigger channel. You could have just played this one and then the break and then a couple of legs down, but that got you into the end of the day. But if you saw the bigger one, you knew what to do right in here, but you still knew what to do if you just drew this short-term trend channel. And I'm going to make it bigger where we can see it again. I'm sorry to keep zooming in and out. I know we had some issues with some of the videos from doing that. But notice how we finally got a break here. We went back. We closed outside it right here. We went back and tried to test it. We got a better break and went back and tried to test it again. It's a failed second entry long. And everybody thought the downtrend was over, that wasn't paying attention, that doesn't see the channel, and they got trapped, and boom, look at that move, and off to the races it goes again. And I drew this one in the lavender color. You really could have entered there, but it's just kind of a congestion area. It's all the overlap. There's too big a chance it breaks out and comes back to the EMA or gets a channel break before it goes lower. So I just didn't like entering there. I think it was risky. You can see it worked. But you're better off to wait till it comes back over here and you get a better setup than that. It wasn't clear at that point, really, that that this was a median line. That it looked like a really tight channel at that point. So, but when it went right on through right here, you move your line over an equal distance and you see it starts catching it, and you come back and look at that setup right there, big bearish reversal bar. And even though this made a lower low, that's still a two-legged pull back to the EMA. It looks close enough. But in a big downtrend like this, and you get and not only is there support right there, guess what? That's the bigger, you got the short-term trend line holding, but look at that median line. It breaks through and it comes back and tests it and turns down, and it's a chance to get short again. And quick, easy scalp, and then you get a failed second entry long. No reason to be going long there. There's no break of that yet. It's still holding, and notice how nothing closed above it, and then it turns down again. That's a second entry short right there, right off that a double top, and boom, off to the races it goes. We finally got a break here. We pulled back, and we were kind of dancing down that line. There's too much stem there to go short below that one. You might have thought about when it broke lower here. Plus, if you drew this line, notice how that's the first break. It comes back and tests it. And so you're just waiting on a turn back down. It never can break below there. It turns up first. And then you got a second retest that fails right off the EMA and closes on slow. So if you get a break below that and you see what happens, they caught a bunch of bottom people trying to pick the bottom again, and they burned them. They run it down, and then it bounces. And then you got another little short-term trend line. And guess where it bounces? Now you've proven this line down here. You're thinking it's here now. You got a little proof, and now you got even more proof. You got a bigger channel here. You got a perfect little, you're in the lower part of it. The market's selling off. Draw your trend line up through here. You get the break. You move back up to test it. Turn down. Look at that bearish bar. That's a beautiful bearish reversal bar. It broke higher, turned and went lower. Just put you a stop right there. When it breaks below, it's gone. And you could have caught a runner and ridden this all the way down the rest of the afternoon. Obviously, when it got down here and it's bouncing off that line, you might, and kind of in this congestion, you probably want to think about exiting. It's getting late in the day anyway. And that was the last trade I marked. We'll back out here again. You can see that, there's no doubt there's a bigger channel and there's a smaller channel within it, and both of them have median lines. So, but when you get a trend like today, try to hang on as long as you can. Normally, I believe in, meeting your target and stopping. But on a day like this, it's okay if you want to break your rule if you're trading with a trend and you're not trying to pick bottoms or whatever, because you don't get many days like this. And when you get a day that moves 30 points, it's got a clear channel like this, you got to stay with it. Get as much of it as you can. I mean, on a day like this, you can really make more in one day than you might make in a week or two normally. I mean, I had a really good day today. I'll leave it at that. But you can have a really good day on a day like this. This might be the one day that I would say if you're feeling the trend and you're feeling the price action, you might stay with it. And it's not, there were several times you could have easily caught a runner and stayed with it without even taking any more risk. And that's what's really nice about a day like this. If you can catch a runner off these very highs up here and ride it all the way down, it's just nothing better than that. So, just trying to think if there's anything else. I apologize for the audio issues lately. Maybe tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to spend some time with this. I'm hoping this video has audio. I'm looking at it. The audio bars are moving, but I swear I looked at it earlier today and they were moving. So I don't know if it's something, maybe it's something with YouTube because there's been some issues with uploading the videos where I had to do it a couple of times recently, and then all of a sudden this audio issue that I thought it was on my end. Maybe it's not. Or maybe it's some kind of equipment failure on my end, but I got to get to the bottom of it. I'll work on that tomorrow. I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you had a good trading day. We'll come back and do this tomorrow, and it'd be nice if we could get another move tomorrow like this, but generally after a big move down like this, you don't get another day of it, but who knows? It'd be nice if we did. Lots of volume. You can see all the bars and all the volume. And really the high of 74 down to 42. I mean, 32 points there. Doesn't get any better than that. And you could have literally ridden this from the top with a runner all the way to the bottom. It's hard to do, but if you're disciplined and you wanted to, you could have done that, and without taking any more risk on. That's the sweet thing about it if you use our scalp and run technique. So, but I'm just mumbling. I'm going to wrap it up. Sorry about the audio issues, but we'll be back to do this tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.